my name is Victoria Voss. I'm the producer for ArcheAge for Trion Worlds. ArcheAge is an open world sandbox game that is being brought to you by Trion Worlds. XL Games is the developer for this game, and we've been really happy to work with them and bring you ArcheAge to the West. It is an incredibly deep sandbox game. It is wonderfully complete, and everything is done to the most amazing level of detail. We're going to barely brush the surface of what you can do here in ArcheAge because we don't have enough time to go into all of the different levels of detail of the game. So we're going to start here at the map of the world. The southern two continents are where you start, and depending on which race you are. And then the northern continent of Aurora is the open world PvP continent. This is the land where you go to create your own domain, you claim a piece of the land, and it becomes your territory, and you have to defend that from everyone else. We're going to get into that a little bit later. So first of all, you're going to go ahead and create your character. I mentioned there are 4 different races. There are the Nuian, the Elves, the Firin, and the Harani. And depending on where you are, or which race you select, you'll end up on one of the 2 continents, either Nuia or Harania. Now, once you've selected your character, there is an incredible level of detail for you to go into. There is sliders for every different part of your face. You can customize the character to be exactly the way that you want it. And then you can do some cool things, like you can even put scars on their faces, move it around, make them bigger or smaller, and actually put the scars exactly where you want. There's also, in addition to scars, there's little beauty marks, which we have here, which are hiding. So you can do whatever you want with your character and really make it the character that you want to have. Now, after you've selected your character, you're going to go ahead and pick your class. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the game because the classes are a little bit different here with ArcheAge, and it's easier to show you on a higher level character. At level 1, you're going to pick one of 6 different classes. They have a range of different things, from archery to sorcery, some healing, and defense. Then once you're in the game, after you've leveled for about 5 levels, you're going to select a second class. Now you have a larger selection here. There are 10 different classes that you have as an option now. There's 4 additional ones from the original 6. At level 10, you go ahead and select a third class. Now what's really cool about these classes is that there is no limitation on the interaction. You can have a little bit of bard, a little bit of warrior, and a little bit of mage, all in the same class if that's what you want to have. Each of the classes has a series of interactions that we call combos with the other classes. So if you want to have a warrior or a wizard that is all about fire and lighting things on fire and having cool and awesome things happen to things on fire, you can be that pyromaniac. If you can do it with stuns, with immobilizations, however you want to mix and match, you can totally do that. Now you see here in front of us, we've got a character with a quest icon over their head. Now ArcheAge has a lot of quests in the game, but they are completely optional. If you want to, you can log into the starter area and go straight into crafting or straight into trading. Or, if you're brave enough, straight into PvP. It's completely up to you and how you want to play the game. If you do choose to play the quests, there's a number of different quests that tell you about the deep and rich story behind ArcheAge. They talk to you about the original 12 that founded the garden, and you'll understand all of this when you actually go through the game. There's all of this lore behind it. Each of the different races also has a story as to why you're there. What's your purpose and why are you in this world at all? In addition to that, we have a series of quests that are somewhat, normal. They'll run you through the game. And then there are the quests that will teach you about the sandbox elements. For instance, you'll be able to go ahead and raise your mount. So we have a little dude here, and he is going to become our mount. We're going to play with him, and then he's hungry. We're going to feed him, and then he's going to grow a little bit. And we're going to keep playing with him and feeding him and washing him and dancing with him and interacting with him. And he's going to grow up into a full-size mount that we can actually use, which is really awesome. And there's another really cool thing about the quests. They have these over and under achieving abilities. So if you have a quest that you want to go ahead and turn in, you've killed 5 out of 10 things, you're done, you can't find any more, you can turn it in. Conversely, if you're having an absolute blast killing them, you can kill 15 of them and turn them in and get extra credit for the ones that you've killed, which is really super cool. And I pulled up here the crafting window. Everything in ArcheAge relates to crafting. Whether you're PvPing, PvEing, trading, building boats, building houses, trying to take over the world, all of it comes back to crafting. There are 15 different crafting skills that you can choose from. You have the ability to do all 15 of them. You can raise certain ones to higher levels, or you can pick which ones you want to raise to higher levels. It's up to you how you want to manage that and what you want to specialize in. But you always have access to all 15 skills. One of the skills is really cool, which is called commerce. And what this skill is all about is generating these items that you can use to go ahead and trade with other people within the continents. So you can take it to the other continent, you can take it within your own continent, or you can take it to some special locations that are a little bit harder to get to. And depending on where you take it, you'll get different rewards for it. So you'll get different amounts of gold and in-game currency for turning in these prizes. So it's a great way if you need money or you need some extra currency, you can trade around for it. This area that we have here is all player generated. So I mentioned before the crafting really relates to everything. We had a player place the chickens. He is raising chickens for eggs and for meat. All of these houses are player generated. The interiors of all of the houses as well are player generated. And here's what that mount, that little kitten that we had before, that's what he turns into. You can see over here there's a house that's actually in progress. Some farmland and some territories set up. All of this, again, it's all player made. Oh, the Yadas are growing up. It's actually been kind of fun because we've been watching this particular person has been growing Yadas. Yadas are a race of sort of kangaroo bunnies that are in ArcheAge. They're very cute and adorable. We've been watching them grow over the length of GDC. This is an actual alpha player's house. So all of these houses belong to alpha players. And as he is growing up these Yadas, hopefully he's not home, he's actually from a different faction. So he's decided that it is worthwhile to go ahead and put his house on Haranya instead of Nuia, where he would be safe, because of the access to resources. So different places have different resources in different quantities. So depending on what he's looking for, putting a house somewhere that could be potentially very dangerous is totally feasible. Now here he is relatively safe because the alpha community is pretty small at this time, but it's going to become a lot more dangerous as we get bigger. This is going to be fun. So I'm going to show you now. Yes, timed it. Trying the one-handed glider. It's so much fun. So gliders are a different mode of mobility through the game. Instead of mounts, you can also use the gliders. Nope. Nope, not going to do it. Not going to make it. I've actually nailed it only once. I was trying to get onto the boat that was just coming in there. So, yeah, I'm not killing anything. I'm not killing the boat, I swear. There we go. So I'm actually on the dock of one of the boats that is in progress of being built. And as you can see, I actually have a combat symbol because the person who placed this boat is of a different faction than me. So I have the ability to go ahead and attack the ships, which is kind of funny. They've been there long enough that I can go ahead and kill them. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump over to this boat. You'll see here that I'm swimming under the water as I come up on the boat. This leads to a really interesting tactic where you can get your crew to come underwater and go ahead and climb aboard the boats and take them over. Every boat has to have someone at the helm. Swing around, there we go. And swing the right way, there we go. And you can see Evan back there manning the helm of this boat. These boxes over here are boxes for resources. So as you build those trade packs that we talked about earlier, you can go ahead and put them in these boxes to help get them from one location to another, so you can transport a bunch of them at once. The ships are really cool because this is one of the bigger ships that you have. There are smaller ships that you can start out with, and there's actually another bigger ship as well. And there is a ton of things to do for people on all of these ships. You can fire the cannons, you can steer the ship, you can climb up the mast and go to the crow's nest at the top. And the crow's nest is really important because that has the spyglass. And using the spyglass, you can go ahead and see much further than you would if you were just looking normally. That's really important because remember, you've got trade goods and resources that you want to make sure gets to wherever they go. And there are other players that are going to try to take those from you. So some of the players on the seas are players from the other faction who may or may not be incentivized to come and take your stuff. But you're also likely to run into another faction of players. And these are players that we call pirates. They have become pirates because they have killed and stolen enough stuff that their own factions have kicked them out. If you kill your own faction or you steal from your own faction, you leave a mark in the world. If someone discovers that mark and reports you, then you get to go on trial. When you're on trial, you're in front of a jury of your own faction. So all of those players that you stole from and killed, they could be on that jury. They get to decide how long you go to jail. If you go to jail often enough, then you get kicked out of your faction because you're not safe to have around anymore, and you become one of the pirates. If you are a pirate, then you have this tiny island that you can interact with the NPCs on, and that's it. Every other NPC is kill on sight to you. All of the players can kill you for free, so they have no repercussions if they kill you. And you don't have a lot of land. There's a tiny little housing area on the pirate island, and that's the only safe housing for pirates. So they get a lot of their resources for their ships by taking it from other people who are transporting their resources from continent to continent. And you know that these people are willing to kill you and are willing to steal your stuff because that's how they became pirates in the first place. Now, go ahead. As you're busy dodging these pirates and going from continent to continent, you could also have resources for your castle. Remember I mentioned that third continent before? Well, that's where we are now. And we're in a castle on Aurora, and that was built again by alpha players. So you can have houses within the castle walls. Each one of these segments of the castle walls are a separate component. So you can build the castle in any form that you would like. We're going to show you another castle later that's actually built a little bit differently. It's still under construction. So all of these towers, all of the wall components, everything is a separate individual piece. And each piece takes hundreds and hundreds of resources. So there's a ton of resources that goes into a castle of this size and this style. Another cool thing about castles is anybody who has a house here, so all of these houses and farms that are in here or in the territory just outside, a portion of their taxes goes to the owner of the castle. So it's a good revenue generator as well. As we're going to climb up to the top to the battlements, you can go ahead and see, there we go. These cannons, for instance, are all functional. And the reason the cannons need to be functional is so you can defend your castle. Once a week, an item comes up to auction, and the winner of that bid gets to siege your castle. You have to defend your castle, because if they win, they get to take your castle from you. So all of your resources, everything that you put into it, now belongs to somebody else. And if you've got territory here, if you've actually got property in your castle, that all goes to somebody else. So this item in the middle here, which is, there we go. So this item in the middle here, that's effectively the flag. If you think of it like a capture the flag game, you have to breach the castle walls, get into the castle, capture that, and destroy it in order to win the siege. So it's not an easy task, but if you don't have good defenses, it's not that difficult either. So you really want to be able to defend your castle. And these are 100 on 100 battles. So they're substantial battles. Give me to the other one. So we're going to hop over now to a castle that's actually in progress, and you can see, you can actually see the differences in the different castles. So each player gets to build the castle however they want to build it. You can see all of the structures here, all of the scaffolding that shows that they're still under construction. So he's in progress of creating now his outer layer. He's already created his inner layer of buildings. So ArcheAge is an amazing game. It's really an infinite world. There is so much to do from level 1 to 50, and there's tons of stuff to do even when you get there. So it really is a world that you want to live in. You build a house, you get to raise a farm, you get to raise your pets. It is so cool, and it can eat up so much of your time. It's an amazing, wonderful game. And ArcheAge, it's just an amazing game, and it really is a game that Trion Worlds is absolutely thrilled to be able to bring to the West, and we're going to bring it for free.
Great for our party. We've had to dare people to ride on the floor.
Congratulations.